Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of AWS She Builds Tech Skills North America. I'm Bhavisha Davada, a solutions architect at AWS, and I'm joined by Pragya, who's a senior leader for customer success manager, and also joined by our amazing panelists today, Manal and Jeff. Manal and Jeff, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Good. So, just for our audience, we are at the Women's Summit, Women of the Cloud Summit here in New York. It's a very exciting event, getting to meet a lot of inspiring people, getting to meet a lot of inspiring leaders, just like Jeff and Manal, and getting to know more about their experiences and journeys. So, looking forward to the conversation and learning more about you too. So, to kick things off, Jeff, can you tell us a little more about your role at AWS and your journey in tech?
Yeah, so I've been here just short of 5 years, and I joined AWS in a business development role where I was leading worldwide business development for our relational databases, our managed database products. When I got here, I spent a year doing that, and then after a year, I went back into sales. I'd spent most of my career in tech sales, and when I went back into sales, I had the opportunity. For the first year, I worked primarily in the US West. And then after that, I had the opportunity to interview to take the North American job. And at that point, once I rolled into the role, we grew the organization about 3x. So we hired a lot of folks. And as you can imagine, when you're in the database space, as we were sourcing candidates, a lot of them look like me. And I just knew that wasn't right. And by we had a job description that said that you needed 10 years of database experience. Well, people that have 10 years of database experience are white and male. And so we were perpetuating the problem. And so we changed our job descriptions. We changed how we sourced candidates. We humanized the interview process. We call it the loop here, but we humanized that process and made it a little bit more approachable for folks. And since that time, we've taken the organization from 12% female to 31%. Now, it's not where it needs to be, but we've made progress.
Yeah, I think that's the good start, right? And I like how you said that. I think as women, we try looking at job descriptions and we try seeing if we fit everything that's put in that job description, and humanizing the interview process, changing the job description makes a lot of a difference. So that's good advice for a lot of organizations who are trying to improve their inclusion and diversity ratio in the company. So with that, Manal, I heard you speaking this morning. What an amazing keynote. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So a very inspiring story, but I would love you to share that with our audience as well and talk to them about your journey, about your career and where you are today and how did you get there.
So first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's actually my first international talk outside the Middle East since Everest, so it's pretty special. I've been talking and speaking around Dubai, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. So the Middle East is kind of like, used to these conversations because we're also trying to change, the status quo. But it was, I felt it was like very brave to come and share that kind of story with a very different audience. I wasn't sure how they're going to receive me, but I think from the amount of people who are stopping me to take selfies, I think I did okay. So so my background is pharmacy. Actually, I'm a third culture kid. I grew up in Kuwait, born and raised, but my parents are Egyptian. And I moved to Kuwait. I moved back to Kuwait after university, and then I moved to Dubai. And then I lost my job with the pharmaceutical industry. But during the time that I was a corporate slave, if you want, a 9 to 6, I was doing all my side hustles. So I was coaching, I was modeling for Nike. I was speaking here and there about little mountains and stuff. And then now we're here. Yeah.
That's one more first to her list, right?
I know.
First talk outside of Middle East. So
yeah, exactly. Since Everest, because I did one in 2018 for Facebook, remember? Yeah, but that was before Everest. Yeah.
Awesome.
What's a little mountain?
I know, it's just like Kilimanjaro. It's not like a little
mountain.
No, I just mean it's not an 8,000 meter peak, because Everest is just the ultimate mountain, Yeah.
Talk about raising the bar.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, right?
No.
Yeah. It's just it's not as challenging as a 2 months expedition, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. like I said, talk about raising the bar. We talk about that here, but you've taken that to a whole different level.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me start by saying having a big fangirl moment that you're here speaking with us, and thank you for sharing your goodness with us here in North America again.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Really, it means a lot.
It's amazing, and our I think our viewers, our audience is gonna get a lot from speaking to both of you. Something I want to ask you is, you're clearly breaking stereotypes, right? You're Nike's first running ambassador that wears a hijab. You're the first Egyptian woman to climb tiny mountains here and there, Mount Everest. You know, you've almost built a brand for yourself, which is awesome. Whether you wanted it or not, you built it. What advice would you give for women that are trying to build a brand for themselves in their own unique ways?
Honestly, I think what really worked for me was having the courage. Like, so it's all about, being so brave to fight through the naysayers and fight through, oh, like this is too big. Oh, you can't do that. What will people say? Like where I come from, it's very easy to like put you in a box and expect you to live there forever. So it's not just because I went and pursued, an alternative career and, in tech, because I'm like in Facebook and stuff. And then I also started like mountaineering. I also didn't get married and have kids, which is a really big deal in our culture. Like I'm 43 years old, and it's like I've checked all boxes of my parents except this particular thing, which is a big deal. It's like, oh my God, so no one's gonna marry like a mountain climber. Who cares? If that's because I don't think that women are only good for that. I mean, if you are able to be a mountaineer, an athlete, and a corporate worker, and be a mom with kids, great. But if life and the universe doesn't give you that, life is just like so vast and the universe is so amazing. There's so much other stuff that you can get to do with your life. I just wish that women would be brave enough to pursue something unconventional. This is the only thing I would give myself credit for, because I just didn't care. I was like, you only get one chance to live and one chance in life. You either make it or you don't, So yeah, just be brave and try to shut out the naysayers. Everyone who tells you that you can't do something, it's because they can't do it themselves. It's not about you. They think that they can't go and climb the mountain because they never saw themselves, climbing Mount Everest, rightfully so, because God didn't give them that dream or plant that dream in their hearts. Yeah.
Love that answer. Very inspirational. Jeff, something I'd love to ask you. You've clearly had leadership roles within Amazon, outside of Amazon, prior to Amazon, and you've built very diverse teams, go-to-market, sales. What do you think is unique about Amazon's approach to diversity, equity, and inclusion?
This is going to be a cheesy answer. The leadership principles are enablers for us. And one of the things, and I talked a little bit about, we humanized the process and we changed the job descriptions. When we did that, we didn't water down our expectations of the person that we were going to hire for the role. We just changed what that metric looked like. So we still wanted 10 years of experience. And for us at Amazon, we were looking for people that fit here culturally. And the leadership principles, and I believe the people that come through the process, if they have aptitude, we can teach them the technology. And so far, we were right.
Yeah,
we have been 100% right, where we changed what the role description was. We changed what the qualifications were. We held the bar on what our expectations were. But you didn't need 10 years of database experience. We were just looking for somebody that had experience that we believe would have the aptitude to scale the role, and it's worked.
Right. What's your favorite leadership principle?
Well, mine is earn trust. Always has been, and it's a big deal for me. I've spent the vast part of my career in sales, and I would tell you the best relationships I've had are the ones where I've worked with customers or even people that I've worked with, where the trust is, it's a two-way street for me, right? They implicitly trust me, I implicitly trust them, and sometimes, I don't have the best answer, but I think you gain a certain amount of respect when you give the straight truth.
But I don't know. I'll get back to you. Yeah, agree.
No, I think that's amazing. Something that keep challenging myself and something that I'm trying to learn over days is learn and be curious, right? One of our other leadership principle is listen and ask questions,
Yeah.
right? So are you coachable? Are you ready to learn something new? If yes, then you're ready for taking up new challenges. So thank you, Jeff, for sharing that with us. I mean, we can keep talking with Manal and Jeff, I think for hours and hours, but with time, maybe one last question, Jeff, for you is, what would be your one advice to young women leaders who are just getting started in their career or maybe just getting started in technology in general?
Yeah, I'm going to steal from Manal on this. If you don't
It's
mind.
okay. Yeah, it's okay. I'll charge you later.
You need to be bold. Yeah, and I'll give you an example. My daughter's just early in her career, and she works for a large multinational real estate conglomerate. And she was promoted last year, and she's done well. And they've done some reorganization, and so there's a role open where she basically would be the peer of her current manager. And so, she went to her manager and said, "Hey, I'm interested in the role." And her manager is a female. And she said, "They'll never consider you. You haven't been in the role long enough. So don't even bother raising your hand." And so she called me and she was distraught. And I said, "Kels," I said, you need to raise your hand. You need to apply for the role. And then you need to go back to your manager and insist that they support you. Because the worst thing that can happen is now they know that you have an interest in growing your career. That's the worst thing that can happen. The best thing that can happen, maybe, I don't know, she didn't get the job yet, that she's still going through that process. The best thing that can happen is you get the job, right? And so, if I could give any guidance to a young woman starting in their career, it doesn't matter if they're an individual contributor or if they're moving into management, is be bold.
I love that. And just like Manal and Jeff are saying, you're be bold, silent your naysayers, right? Like do what you believe in and try to find something that you are unique in and go for it. Manal, would you like to add anything? Like what would your advice be to these young women leaders?
Honestly, I just think that every woman has a path laid ahead of her, and no one has the right to interfere as long as she's not hurting anyone, not hurting, herself. I think that she just needs to go for it. It's like the moonshot project sort of thing. If that's what she wants to go after, she just like go fight for it. No one expected that. I come from a very small city in Egypt, like it's actually not the capital. And, I'm not like huge in terms of like, physically big or anything, but, I got to say that I stood on top of the world. I got to prove that as an underdog, as the girl next door, if you are able to dream so big and you believe that, you believe in this particular dream, you're able to achieve it. That's it.
Wow, very inspiring for me. Be bold and go for it. I'm going to take those two things away with me and hope our audience will as well.
That's true. And yeah, I think thank you so much both for joining us and sharing your authentic stories and your authentic advice. I think for our leaders, be diligent about thinking about diversity and inclusion in your organizations. And for our women watching, whether you're thinking about a career in tech or whatever that is, chase your dream, be bold, and think outside the box and raise your hand for that thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much. We'll see you all soon again.
Love.
Thank you.